Hi everybody, welcome back to Midvale Minis. This is where we left off in the last video. In this video, we're going to be adding some resin to the fountain, adding some dirt, and adding some paint and resin to the bird bath. So let's get started. Just testing out my water effects. That's this stuff. And what you do is, you can see it over here, you can make a waterfall. What you do is you put it on wax paper or some other kind of non-stick paper. And I made really long, thick strips so that I could cut them. I like the thickness of this. I tried a little bit thinner. I thought the thinner was too thin. And I tried a little bit thicker and I thought the thick was too thick. So this is sort of like Goldilocks. This is just right. I think I want to do 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way around. But before I can do that, I have to add the resin to the bottom. Okay, I am going to glue this one in using my water effects at the top. And when that dries, it will dry clear. And then I want to put just a little bit right underneath here. I'm going to glue the rest of them in as well. Okay, so this is what it looks like glued in. I actually changed the position of all of them. I left them where I had them located. So this is sort of dead center in the front. And then I did 4 more. So if you look at it this way, you can see like spokes in a wheel kind of. What I didn't like was they were too high up on the top. It looked a little odd to me. So I moved them down here so that they just look like they're cascading over the edge. And I like that much, much better. It looks much more natural. What I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to take a little bit more of my water effects and I'm going to make a little splash at the bottom of each one of these. You can't really see it. Like I did one here. I'm not even sure if you can see that there, but there is a little bit of a splash going on. It's not tremendously noticeable, but I think it adds to the realism. So I'm just going to go ahead and put those little splashes at the bottom of each of these. So when it dries, it's dry and clear, but right now you can see how it looks. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do for my room box is I am going to take my rose trees here that I made a little while ago. I am going to put some Gorilla Wood glue in there. You can use tacky glue, you can use wood glue, it doesn't matter. And then I'm going to take coffee. This is used coffee. I put it in the oven so that any bacteria might get killed off. Put it in the oven at 200 degrees. I put it in for about an hour. Apparently you don't need to put it in that long, but better safe than sorry, so I left it in a little longer. So this is a little bit of a leap of faith for me because I've never done this before. I'm just gonna do it. Sometimes you just kind of gotta rip the band-aid off and do it. Just as a little note, there does seem to be a little shrinking away of the air dry clay. There's a little shrinkage away from the edge. But that's okay. I think it should still be okay. I have a spoon here. I'm just gonna spoon it on. Okay, I'm gonna let that sit and dry, and if I need to add any more, I will, and then I'll brush off the excess. And now I'm gonna do the second one. Okay, so while that is drying, and you can see that my fountain is also still drying, I wanna cut some chipboard from right here and right here. And I'm gonna do this whole segment here and over here, and also on the other side of the room box. And I'm going to cut it into, make sure that it fits exactly, and then I'm going to glue the coffee grounds to that as well. So I still have my template from when I first created all of my lines on here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and use my template to cut out some chipboard. As you can see, I've cut that piece from chipboard and put it in, and it matches pretty darn well. And I've gotten the curve pretty close. I am going to be cutting off this portion down here to about here, so I'm not worried that it doesn't line up, but I just wanted that corner piece to line up. And I'm pretty satisfied with that. Okay, so I've laid out the patterns, and this is what it looks like so far. Okay, and here is part of it installed in the room box. Now I haven't glued it in or anything. I just wanted to put it in there and see what it looks like. So it looks okay. It looks okay. I feel like it looks a little two-dimensional and a little flat. So I was thinking that what I would do is I would go in and dry brush some different colors and different shades so that it's not all just one shade. The other thing I didn't like about it is the edge. You can see the edge there. It looks very, what's the word? It looks very harsh. I feel like it needs to have some kind of a divider. So I have decided to put in some rocks. They're not put in place perfectly here. They're just sort of giving me an idea. I like the idea of how that looks. I like the difference. So if you want to take a look here, and you can see the difference between having no rocks and having rock. So now I will go back and I will add some coloration. So I'm going to have to add some more coffee in here, but right now I just want to test my colors. I have here cinnamon stick and tan. I'm just going to do a little bit of the cinnamon stick and really just sort of dab it off. Well, already I think that looks slightly better. I like the color variation actually. All right, I'm gonna add more coffee grounds back to this, and then we'll add some more paint later. While I'm adding my coffee grounds, I definitely wanted to add more to this one as well. So I'm gonna add more glue around the edge and another round of coffee grounds. While all of my coffee grounds are drying, I am going to tackle this. I really like the grape design that it has. It kind of looks like the grapes on here on my benches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this paint that I painted my second bench with to make it match the first one. I'm going to put a layer of that on here and let it dry. I'm probably going to do 2 layers, and then I'm going to do this color in here, the accent color. I'm going to make some of that up, and I'm also going to do some of the black to try and get it to look as much like this as possible. And now I'm just going to let it dry. Okay, so now I have 2 base coats on my bird bath here, and I'm going to try and match this as best as possible. I'm going to mix up my phthalo green and my ultramarine blue, just the teensiest drop of ultramarine. You see I have a lot more of the phthalo green and a lot less of the ultramarine blue. I'm purposely taking my green tinted water and adding it to the black just to keep even more of that green tint going on. Okay, so I am done with it. I think it's matching pretty well. I like it with both of them. It's got a little more darkness to the bottom of it than these benches, but they look like the same colors. They really, really look like they go together. So let's look and see what they look like in the room box. Okay, so here's the bird bath and the 2 benches in place, and then this is the piece that goes opposite the bird bath. I think everything is working really well together. So now the last thing I have to do for this video is put resin in the bird bath. Okay, so now that's done. Let's go put it in the room box. Okay, so here's where I'm leaving it for the week. I really like how this bird bath came out. I like how it matches everything. I love the position of the fountain. It's all glued in. I've gotten all the highlighting done on the dirt, and I'm going to add a little highlight to the rose trees as well. And in my next video, I am going to figure out what I'm going to do with the curves and where the dirt meets the curves, because I realized I really don't like the stones there. But I will figure that out for next week. Until then, hope you have a fabulous week. Thanks. Bye.